Hi everybody, it's Brooke from Quagensia, and in this video I will show you how you can add a time stop to a pre-existing point-and-click strategy for NinjaTrader without code in Quagensia N Edition. The logic we will create will look like this, where this is our time stop, which says if the bar since entry is greater than or equal to an input parameter named number of bars to be long, and the use time stop Boolean true or false input parameter is set to true from within NinjaTrader by virtue of its checkbox being checked, and we are long, then exit the entire long position using a market order. Since the time stop is only considered if the use time stop input parameter is set to true from within NinjaTrader, this allows us to turn our time stop on and off in backtests and on live charts. Furthermore, since the NinjaTrader optimizer supports optimizing over Boolean input parameters, this allows us to run optimizations of our strategy where half of the backtest runs use time stops and half do not. Let's add this logic to a copy of this strategy called Bollinger Bands Long Entry on Breakout Above Upper Band. To make a copy, click on it and choose Create New Strategy from copy of this strategy. Let's give it a name. We'll do My Bollinger Bands Long Entry on Breakout Above Upper Band. We'll say with time stop. And then for the name of the strategy's file and folder on disk and the name in NinjaTrader, we'll make a shorter name. We'll say My Bull Band LE on BO above upper band. We'll say W time stop for with time stop. Scrolling down to the input parameters section, we see here that the strategy we copied has an input parameter for Bollinger Band period and Bollinger Band number of standard deviations, but the one we want to emulate has 4 input parameters. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to the one that we were looking at, and just so we can refer to it, I will move it to the right so we can see both at once. So go ahead and click on the gear icon here and choose Move this Algos tab to the tab group in column 2 of the upper row. So now I'm going to go ahead and move the splitter bar to the left so we have more space. So now on the right, we have the strategy called Bollinger Bands Long Entry on Breakout Above Upper Band with time stop, which has the time stop I was showing you earlier. And over here we have our new strategy. So let's go ahead and go to the input parameters section of the one we want to copy. And right off the bat, we see it has bull band period, bull band number of standard deviations, and here we have use time stop. It is a Boolean true or false input parameter with a default value of true. Let's go ahead and just copy the name over to the one that we're making. It's a Boolean, and the default value is true. Add the parameter, and let's add the other one. It's called number of bars to be long. It's a whole number with a default value of 12. All right, so we just copied the input parameters from the strategy we want to copy into our strategy. Let's take a quick look at the internal variable section. There's just one internal variable. It's called bull band. It is a Bollinger Bands indicator that uses the bull band number of standard deviations input parameter for its standard deviations and uses the bull band period input parameter for its period. And the Bollinger Band has a green upper band, a blue middle line, and a hot pink lower band. Going down to the WinBar update section, which is executed every bar close or every tick. we can see that the strategy enters a position when the close price crosses above the Bollinger Bands upper band plot while the close is going up. And we see that the strategy exits its entire long position when we are long and when the close price crosses below the middle line of the Bollinger Bands indicator. But over here in the strategy we want to copy, we can see it has an additional criteria to exit, which is our time stop. And as you can see here, it says if the current market position for our strategy is long and either the close price crosses below the middle line of the Bollinger Band or both of these are true, which is if the used time stop input parameter in NinjaTrader is set to true by virtue of its checkbox being checked, and if the bar's sense entry is greater than or equal to another input parameter called number of bars to be long. And a final thing I want to point out before we copy the logic over to our strategy is notice the nested parentheses. So we have if the current market position is long and our first set of parentheses that closed there. And inside the first set of parentheses, you have if the close crossed below the middle line of the Bollinger Band or a second nested set of parentheses. And then you have our time stop criteria. So we'll have to remember to create two sets of parentheses that are nested within one another. So let's do it. So over here, first of all, since we have a parenthesis after the and, let's just go ahead and add parentheses. So click on the cross below time series condition in our strategy and choose add parentheses. And now we have the first outer set of parentheses. And now below this cross below, we have an or. So let's add an or. Click on the gear icon and choose add condition after me using or. Great. And now you'll see we have another set of parentheses. So click on this empty criteria, this gear icon, and say add parentheses. And now what we have left is inside of the inner set of parentheses, we have to create our actual time stop logic. So the first one's easy. It's if used time stop is equal to true. So under input parameters and internal variables, input parameters and use time stop for equal to true, we just say true. And then we have an and. So click on the gear icon and say add condition after me using and. And finally, we have this one. It's bar sense entry is greater than or equal to. Okay, so first of all, let's change this to is greater than or equal to. And then to find bar sense entry, we could just go to the left side of the criteria here. And if we knew where it was, and I'll show you where it is, we could just go to more expressions, order fills and positions, position info, and there it is, bar sense entry. But let's say you didn't know where it was in the context menu. To find it, you could click on not set here. And in the search, you could say maybe entry and click search for a function. And there it is, bar sense entry. And you can see that it shows that it was in the context menu subfolder we just saw, which is more expressions, order fills and positions, position info, and there it is. So let's go ahead and insert it into our strategy at the location we clicked by clicking on bar sense entry and choosing add this function to your algo at the location you specified. And there it is. We need to enter a signal name here. It should be the signal name of our long entry. And here's our enter long position using a market order. Its signal name is LE. I'm going to copy that. So here under bar sense entry, we want to know the bar sense entry for the signal name LE and is greater than or equal to the input parameter named number of bars to be long. So click on not set. And let's find the input parameter named number of bars be long. There it is. And that's it. We just emulated, we just copied the logic from here to here. So I'm going to go ahead and hide the strategy we are using to copy from. And I will show the My Algos folder. We are now ready to save our strategy and generate its code and backtest it in NinjaTrader. So to save the strategy, either press Ctrl S or click on the toolbar button here. And yeah, my bull band time stop. Okay, great. We're going to save it to the My Algos folder. And there it is. My Bollinger Bands Long Entry on Breakout Above Upper Band with time stop. So let's go ahead and before we generate the code and send it to NinjaTrader, we should open NinjaTrader and open the NinjaScript editor window. Here it is. And this is where programmers code. You don't need to look at it for that reason, but you do need to have the NinjaScript editor window open so that when you generate code and send it to NinjaTrader, it will automatically compile the code, and then you can immediately run backtests and optimizations on your strategy. So we opened the NinjaScript editor. Let's go ahead and generate the code and copy code file to NinjaTrader strategy code folder by clicking this button. And in a minute, you will hear the sound of success. There it was. That meant that our strategy has been automatically compiled and is now ready to be immediately used in the backtester. So back in NinjaTrader, let me make sure that I've connected to the kinetic end-of-day free market data feed. Yep, it's green. There's green. Now let's go ahead and open up the NinjaTrader backtester called Strategy Analyzer. So in the backtester under strategy, let's find our strategy. There it is, my bull band LE on BO above upper band with time stop. So first of all, we see the Bollinger Band period is 26. The number of standard deviations is 2. And here are the two input parameters we added together. The use time stop is a Boolean true or false input parameter with a default value of true or a checkbox of checked. We could uncheck it to make it false, so we would not use time stops, or check it so that time stops are used in our strategy's backtest. So here's the other input parameter we added, number of bars to be long. We'll leave it as the default of 12. So let's backtest over GLD, daily bars. Let's go back to 2005. And I like that the slippage is 2 ticks. Here's exit on session close is false because we are backtesting over daily data. And let's run a backtest. It's done. So the profit factor of what we just ran is 1.49. Let's go ahead and look at a chart of our backtest. So right away we can see that there was an entry when the close price crossed above the upper band of the Bollinger Bands indicator. The signal bar is where the close price breached, and then a market order was placed and filled on the open of the next bar here. And then the market went down almost immediately, and this bar with the pink background color crossed below the middle line of the Bollinger Bands indicator, which caused an exit order to be filled on the open of the next bar, and we lost money here. So let's see if we can find one where there's a time stop. So there's a breach below the middle band again. Okay, great. Here's a time stop. So in this case, you can see how we entered when the close price crossed above the upper band of the Bollinger Bands indicator, and then we exited here instead of waiting for the breach below the middle line. and we exited because we had been in a long position for 12 bars at this pink background color. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, the 12th bar. And then a market order to exit the long position is placed and filled on the open of the bar after the bar with the pink background here. And had we not exited here based on our time stop, we would have held a position, been up and then down. The breaching close would be in this red bar here, and it would have been filled on the open of this next green bar here. And it's very close. It looks like it's almost a wash. Had we not had a time stop and then filled here, the bar after the breach bar, it'd been about a wash. Let's see if we can find an example where the time stop actually helped us. Here's an example. So in this case, the close price breached. The market was filled on the open of this bar, and we hold for 12 bars, and here's a 12th bar with the pink background color, and on the 13th bar, we exit with a market order. Had we held on, had we not had a time stop, we would have held our position until we crossed below the middle line of the Bollinger Bands indicator here, and we would have been filled on the open of this bar about here. So in this case, our time stop really helped us. Now I'm going to show you how you can turn a time stop off. So let's go ahead and go to this time stop, our use time stop input parameter, and uncheck the checkbox. And let's go ahead and run the backtest again. So first, let's go ahead and go back to the summary. The profit factor was 1.40, so a little worse. So it looks like our time stop helped us a little bit. So we just ran the back test without the time stop. The profit factor is a little lower. And let's look at a chart without the time stop. So here's a back test of our strategy with no time stop. So here, cross below middle line, below middle line, below middle line. So you'll notice, like in this case, clearly we held a position for more than 12 bars. So here's our 12 bars. The checkbox is unchecked though, so we are not going to use a time stop. So we go past 12 bars, we keep going, and we exit here. So yeah, so we just determined that our back tests use a time stop when this checkbox, this use time stop is checked, and does not use a time stop when it's unchecked. So the last thing I want to show you in NinjaTrader is how you can optimize a strategy that has a Boolean input parameter so that we can run optimizations where half of the backtest runs use time stops and half do not. To optimize our strategy, I will go to backtest type and choose optimization. Let's optimize the bull band period, or the period of the moving average upon which the Bollinger Band indicator is based, from 12 to 60. Let's not optimize the bull band number of standard deviations. This time you can do it yourself. And for the number of bars to be long, let's optimize it from maybe 5 to 30. And finally, let's optimize our use time stop Boolean input parameter. So instead of running all the optimizations with time stops or all without, click on this, and instead of saying true or false, let's say optimize. So half of the backtest runs will be run with time stops and half without. Let's go ahead and run optimization. It finished. NinjaTrader just ran over 2,500 backtest runs in about 17 seconds. I sped that up so you don't have to watch the whole thing. So let's take a really quick look at the top 10 backtest runs of our optimization to see what parameters performed best. So first of all, these are the top 10 runs out of the over 2,500 backtest runs. It looks like the bull band period, the best ones were in the 40s and 50s, so higher than our original 26. We did not optimize over the bull band number of standard deviations. We left it at 2, so you can see a bunch of 2s all the way down the list. And then you see these trues all the 10 best backtests had a value of true for use time stop. So it looks like of the top 10 best backtest runs, all used time stops. So the checkbox was checked for those. And then finally, for the number of bars to be long, it looks like we were pretty close on our guess. Of the top 10 results, they range from a number of bars to be long from 9 all the way up to 12. So I won't analyze the optimization results further. The purpose of this video was to show you how you can create a time stop in a pre-existing point-and-click strategy for NinjaTrader without code in Quagensia N Edition, and how you can use a Boolean true or false input parameter that will allow you to turn it on and off in NinjaTrader. That's the end of our video. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, please let us know by giving this video a like and subscribing to our channel. And if you loved it, please consider sharing this video. Have a great day.